I got one question for you. Are you ready?
Hey, what is going on, everybody? It is
What's
time to rock yet again, and we have the amazing Louka in-house. How you doing, buddy?
up, Louka?
Fantastic. So happy to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you on, man. This is exciting stuff. I know that we got an extra week of being able to listen to Luca's music and his new debut album. Love it. Love your new album. Absolutely just digging it. Actually, what's really cool is my son even digged it, which is really cool. He's a 13-year-old kid who doesn't like any of Dad's music. So cool vibe. We were listening to it in the Whataburger the other day, so very exciting.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something kind of interesting. I was just having this conversation with my wife about the ideas that you get from other people, and she was talking about like, well, when you hear the concepts that other musicians may bring and say, oh, your music is like this or music is like that, whether it be criticism or just descriptions or whatever. And in my mind, I'm always much more interested in just what somebody who's not a musician, who doesn't think like a musician, how they feel, because you're going to get the more guttural response. And
Right.
I feel like to me, it's way more valuable, strangely enough, than hearing it from another musician or somebody who thinks maybe closer to the way I do.
You know what? You're absolutely right, and there's a good point to this. And you're absolutely right, because musicians tend to have a tendency, because they have the musical background, to pick your stuff apart, but not just experience it. And I think you're absolutely wrong to that. That's why I enjoy having my son, who he does play bass, but he's 13 and he's into mostly his music, which is EDM music and, a little bit of classical because he plays bass in the orchestra. But he really enjoyed it, and he told me the things that he liked about it. He liked the acoustic guitar. He really liked the way you were playing. He liked, it sounded kind of country to him, he said. I said, wow, I don't know if that's what he was going for, but I'll tell him about it. So
actually, it's a good mix of everything. It seems like it's the country, it's like the rock, it's like the little pop, a little deep as well. There's some deep songs in there as well. It's a little mix of everything. But it's like, to me, even when I listen to it, I listened to like the Optimistic, like back to back. I listened to it and then I listened to it again, and then same with Testing Your Patience, amazing as well. And you have some of the songs are just like the upbeat vibe. You just like, you can't stop, and you literally don't skip tracks and all like that. It's a good CD, a good album when you're not skipping tracks. You know what I'm saying? You're listening to it full on, and that's what I like. I like doing that. But yeah, it's great music, and it just, even kind of going with it, you're learning the lyrics pretty easily. I'm saying, because it's really, really kind of upbeat and kind of catchy, but it kind of sucks you in. It's really good.
Yeah, it is good. But before we talk about his music, we know what time it is. It's time to talk about the desserts. Now, we know that Louka has brought something amazing. I have a special story, and Metal Chef, James the Metal Chef, has, of course, freaking blown it up again. I know, so I don't. He's blown my idea. So we will always go guest first. Louka, what did you bring, buddy?
Well, it's a little something from Wisconsin, where I'm from. The chocolate shop, Zanzibar chocolate. And I tell you what, it's good because most of it is gone already.
There you go.
And it is some
you skip the bowl, you just kind of eat from the carton.
Pretty much. And it's great. It's deep, it's dark. I'm not too big on things that are too sweet, or I actually like things that maybe even have a little bit of bitterness to them. And this kind of has the deep darkness that goes along with the sweets that actually works really well. So
nice.
Very tasty.
And what was the name of it again?
Zanzibar.
Well, it's by the chocolate shop,
Chocolate shop.
and the flavor is Zanzibar chocolate. They've got some other great flavors as well, but yeah, there's quite kind of a little cult following here in Madison, where I'm from.
Ooh, very good. So anybody who's in the Madison, I want comment in the comment section if you hear this later down the road. I want to hear your thoughts about the chocolate shop. I would love to hear about your. So moving on to Andy and his lack of dessert, because today is a very special day. It is Joey, my stepson's 25th birthday. He is a quarter century years old. And it makes me officially yet another a bunch more older, that now I have a kid that is 25. So, and I, of course we got the older kid, but yeah, I'm now again reminded of how old I really am. I'm, somebody was telling me, well, you don't look that old. And I'm like, yeah, but I got kids that are in their 20s. So, nothing but cake is what is sitting out on my island right now. We're waiting to go sing happy birthday to the stepson. Joey is his name, Joseph, because now he's more sophisticated, but he's Joey. He's Joey. Yeah. He's little Joey. So little Joey is celebrating his 25, because if he's little Joey, he's never going to be that old. But he is 25 years today. Happy birthday! Shout out to the kid. Probably none of these kids will probably ever see this stream. But if you are one day, happy birthday, Joey.
Happy birthday.
Nice.
And nothing but cake yet again. Amazing cakes. If you guys ever have a chance to go grab those, they make little mini ones if you just want to try them out. But they make birthday cakes, full on birthday cakes, and they are so good. And they have that the best, it's so good. Just blah, I can't wait. So now the moment of truth, the moment of honor. We know that the chef James has shown up with something. And we're not sure what it is. I don't know what it is, but let's hear what it is.
Without lag, is there Fruity Pebble cupcakes?
Oh.
Fruity Pebbles on top. I went the cereal vibe. You kind of see them. There you go.
Oh.
Far out, man.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so let's go recipe. What's the recipe for this one, my friend?
Really, it's just eggs, flour, milk, vanilla. Put a little lemon in it. Lemon extract to kind of get that lemon flavor of the cereal. Obviously, the cereal, mixing the cereal in it with it as well, and then really just kind of just a buttercream, butter, powdered sugar, and a little bit more lemon extract, and then whip that up to make the buttercream, and just top with cereal. It's really good. Even the frosting itself tastes just like the cereal. It's amazing. It's so good.
Again, anybody who listens out and wants the actual, maybe some recipes, and
I'll throw them out there.
this recipe, he'll throw it out. DM the man, DM the man, and we'll throw out some recipes. I know that there's so many out there that are like, hey, I want to make that, and I'm always like, yeah, I don't know how he made it. So it sounds absolutely amazing. So wow, so we had two really good. I mean, this is why I like musicians that come on, that they bring their local fare to the show. It's not, sometimes they just bring a cookie, but this is from Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that
about. Yeah. Well, just there's actually a number of fantastic chocolatarian type businesses in this area too. And I was hoping that I could get over to a couple different places maybe to pick something up. Also, I what I really wanted to do also was to get some baklava, but it's been an insane couple of days for me, and it's a story that would bore you, but it's just I was not able to do it. But the fact is, what enters this house much more often than anything else is this Zanzibar. So I had to just keep it realistic.
He kept it real. He kept it real here, folks.
So there's a local store up the road that sells baklava fresh. Oh, so good.
Yeah, it is amazing. It's the best. Actually, if there was one thing, if I only had one dessert I could ever have for the rest of my life, that would pretty much be the one right there.
Yes, yeah. I don't know. There's a place called Andy's Frozen Yogurt that makes this. It's German chocolate cake. in like a frozen yogurt. Yeah,
Oh my god.
that's I had that the other day and I was like, yeah, yeah. I don't want to move for a while. This I could eat all of it, and then I was looking for more. So it was super good. But yeah, so exciting, so exciting. Change. I am actually being told as we speak, James, you sound so much better, sir. Thank you
Really?
for
Awesome.
he
Yay.
has put in some effort, my friend. You have no idea how much effort
I have
this
confetti
audio
everywhere.
quality has become, and I
Mm.
am so this is so cool, James. I know that behind the scenes we've
long
talked about
road.
this has been a long road. We have troubleshot this with numerous people,
Oh man.
and we finally got to. I think we got it.
We're
Yes,
set. I'm actually
yes.
excited, like more excited now that I'm not gonna be lagging.
I know, lagging, and we can have conversations, and I don't feel like I'm cut. My half of my show is cut out. So, Luca, let's talk a little bit about food. We're gonna go food for a second.
Yeah, for sure.
Here is food question number one.
Yeah.
Food question number one is: what is your go-to gig food? If you were to go on a gig, what is it that you have to consume before going on a gig
Oh,
or
that's a
going
good
and
question.
playing a gig?
Yeah, for me, that's kind of ever changing because I've been kind of experimenting with diet in general. And what I found is that if I make sure I got a good amount of fat and protein, then I'm in much better shape than, let's say, I decided to have something, high carb, like a pizza, pasta, or whatever, that ultimately is going to kind of crash in a little while. So, um, yeah, something sturdy, something that's kind of keeping me going. And it's very tricky for me, actually, frankly, because I'm very inclined to go the vegetarian route, which makes things a little bit difficult. At the same time, I've actually just been reading a book called Eat Right for Your Blood Type, which tells me that I'm supposed to be much more of a carnivore, which is kind of problematic for my mindset. So anyway, so yeah, I'm always playing around with that, trying to figure it out. But I would say, not to be overly vague, but I kind of have to be because I really don't have a set game plan for that. Protein, fat, that seems to be the element. Those are the elements that kind of are going to sustain through that gig. Yeah.
Nice.
Interesting question. I had no idea I was going to be answering questions about this. This is great.
No, it's fun. Yeah. We try to do a little different. Like I like the dessert thing. I like the food thing. So, and this is something that people don't know about you. So I love it. Nobody will probably ever ask you a dessert question or a food question.
No.
Yeah, no, I doubt it would happen. I remember I was seeing an interview with Neil Young, who said that his favorite pre-gig food was pasta because he said after the adrenaline and all the energy kind of wears off, the pasta would start to kick in, and then you would have the carbs that would kind of carry him through the rest of the gig. So I thought that was kind of interesting too.
Oh, that is interesting. Interesting. Yeah, that
so
is.
like
but
a
with
pre-show, like a pre-show ritual kind of thing, like you eat something or drink something kind of before you get on stage or something like that, or you kind of wait till you're done and then you eat.
Yeah, it really depends on the gig if I have the time. Particularly, I would say even more than the food specifically. Sorry to go off topic, but it's really more about the hang. If I'm playing with some cats that I really like, or just some of my people that I tend to get along with, and we are tight. That's the best. It's almost kind of like, I guess maybe you could say, the sustenance is the camaraderie.
True.
And and of course, frankly, you're kind of at the mercy of maybe whatever the menu might be in the vicinity of where you're playing.
Sure.
But for me personally, I would say though, it's about being able to find kind of a joyful place, a place where it's just kind of more relaxed. If you're hectic, if something's going on, like too much kinetic energy happening, and then you go on stage, it's kind of hard to go into that space, at least for a few songs until you warm up. So I definitely am a big fan of the sort of calm the waters first and then go in real focused. And I think that's it's probably about as fundamentally important as you can get.
I like that answer. I'm a big meditator, so I get that whole vibe before the whole storm thing. being able to calm your mind, be centered before you get on stage or anything that you're doing, to focus on the thing that's going to happen. Yeah, absolutely. Great idea.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an interesting thing, energetically, you might say. It's really about kind of cleaning your whatever you want to call it, if you want to call it your aura or your energy or whatever. Just like, if you've got all kinds of stuff like floating around that's getting in the way, you're trying to be some sort of kind of channel for the music, and it's just going to be cluttered, it's sort of like too much resistance, so clearing that resistance first, and then you go on stage and you feel just right. And that's
even really that, you can like take that into kind of everyday life. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of, if something is stressing or whatever, something's stressing or a lot going on, kind of just taking a break and taking a deep breath and just kind of put yourself in a center mode, center vision, and move forward. So
and really, I mean that means that paying attention to the way that you think is incredibly important, because you can get carried away in any direction. I think of it as a spiral. I don't know. I think it's been said by a number of different teachers, but try to spiral up, because you can easily spiral down, and whatever it is, you're always gathering momentum. So pick a good direction and gather momentum in that direction.
Right.
Yeah. Love it. Very, 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 very wise. Very wise. Very wise. So, what is it when you're on the road? Is there a place that you have to stop? If like you're on the road and you're like, this is the one place that I always stop when I'm out on the road to get some food.
Definitely, if I can find a good sort of organic type of grocery store, more important than pretty much anywhere else, I would say. Something where that you're gonna be able to get some food. And if you can't get something that's prepared, then you might even want to make it yourself, or just get the ingredients that you need in order to I'm a big salad guy, but a salad with all kinds of different things in there, you know what I mean? That sort of thing.
Right. That's awesome.
I generally find that, restaurants, and especially in towns that are kind of, you don't know what you're going to find, man, there's such a wild card. It's almost a risk in a weird way. You're going to get some weird reactions depending on where you're eating. So for me, I'm thinking like, well, the best way you can control that is going to be a good.
Is there like a lot of selections like near you, like, or do you have to go further different places to to get where you want to eat, or is everything kind of readily available to where you're at locally?
Yes, I'm in an awesome town for that kind of thing. I mean, we've got real good grocery stores like that. Real. If you want to get some food that is clean, Madison, Wisconsin, it's a pretty good place for that.
Nice.
Definitely recommend it.
Cool.
If you're gonna come to a show here and you need to go somewhere, you can go to the Willie Street Co-op and you get what you need for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, awesome. Mm-hmm. Very cool. So shout out to Madison yet again. Love it, man. Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna move on to music, and we're gonna go with a couple standards. So standard question that everybody asks everybody is, what got you into this?
Oh, okay. Should we start right from the beginning?
Yeah, start from the beginning. Let me know what what got you into this?
My brother played me Van Halen 1984 when I was 7 years old, and it just lit me on fire, man.
Nice intro.
In fact, I went so far into it, I didn't even get into like song 3 or 4. It was like I just wanted to hear 1984 and then Jump, and then maybe I would get through Panama, and then I was like, I just want to hear those 3 songs again. And it took me a while to even go back to get through the whole album, because I was so into just that. It was amazing.
So good.
So yeah, big Van Halen right from the get-go. I mean, when I was young, I had a buddy whose house was basically opposite, or like in the back. His backyard was also my backyard, that kind of thing. His dad had a woodworking shop in the basement, and so we would take just little pieces of wood that were, for kids, a really good size for a fretboard, and with a pen, just draw the strings, just really crappy lines, frets, right? Draw and cut out like a shape of Eddie Van Halen's guitar, draw in stripes, tape that thing on the piece of wood, do the same thing with the little headstock. We're just kind of going with what we saw, and just rock out in the basement, man. And those paper just flapping around, and that was our deal, man. I mean, I didn't even know what air guitar was at the time. it didn't matter. We were just into it. So as far as getting started, man, the energy of that was what ignited it for sure.
That's a great
And,
start.
yeah, and then when I was I don't know, 12, I think I had the opportunity to work landscaping because my dad had basically had like a side business to his normal job. And so by doing that, I was able to get money, which is to me, I was like, holy cow, money. I had no idea. I always thought a guitar would cost me like $1,000. I didn't even know what the meaning of $1,000 was at the time. And then I found out that I could get one, and he went in 50-50 with me. And so I got my first guitar, and then that was pretty much it. So now I'm playing guitar, I'm working on, and of course, the same kind of influence is just rock and roll. But then um, he introduced me actually to jazz. And also I had a guitar teacher, Roger Brotherhood, who is someone who lived here, who is kind of considered the guitar guru of this area, and just absolutely invaluable teacher for me. Unbelievable. He turned me on to a lot of jazz. And so I'm practicing now jazz and rock and roll on the guitar, but also in school I was able to play drums, and so I had a rock and roll band that I was playing drums with, but also we're kind of songwriting because I'm playing guitar at the same time. Da, 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 da. Anyway, it goes on like that. So that's kind of hence why these sort of like dual path, like these parallel paths for me were and still are just kind of always present in my life. I'm pretty grateful for that.
What was your first guitar?
It was an Ibanez. No, if I could remember, I want to say it's an EX 350 or EX 150 or something like that. But anyway, it was a white guitar with a black pickguard. I think I've got it for like $350, something like that. I had a crate, also sort of kind of a cheaper little amplifier
Nice.
I basically got the package thing. But then later on, as I was making some money, I just started buying more stuff. It was awesome. At one point, I upgraded to a Marshall JMC 900, so I had a half stack in my room. It was awesome. And because I was doing the landscaping, we were always wearing ear protection, so it was perfect. If everybody had left the house and I was there alone, I just put the ear protection in. Wise, happy that I did that now, and just cranked the crap out of that amp, man. And it was glorious. Oh, so good. And then at some point I got to pick up a Ibanez Voyager, which I still play to this day. You may see actually on my Instagram, I think there's probably some photos of that thing. And it kind of looked like a sports car to me in the catalog. And of course I'm 15 years old and I'm like, that. And so I just ordered it, and it kind of the rest is history, so to speak. Yeah.
Very cool.
Nice.
Very
Yeah.
cool. I love it. So first guitar, Ibanez. My first guitar was an Ibanez. You cannot go wrong with an Ibanez. So anybody out there, Ibanez are great first guitars. I've enjoyed. I played my Ibanez more throughout my life than any other guitar, and now I'm like a guitar collector in the last year or so. But so now I have a lot more guitars. But yeah, man, I'll tell you, I enjoyed. I started off just the same way you did, just playing, learning rock. I didn't learn so much jazz, but I tried. Jazz chords kill you.
It's tricky. I mean, you definitely need somebody to guide you through that. I don't know how I would have done it if I hadn't had a good teacher.
Yeah, it's been self-taught by me. And what's so sad is my mom is a guitarist. And she I don't know, when did you start playing guitar? In the 80s or 90s or thousands?
1990. I want to say 1991, I think.
Okay.
Maybe 1990, something like that. But yeah, when I was 12, or something like that.
Yeah, so I was around 87, so just a little bit older than you. And back in the day, if you went to the wrong guitar teacher, they would just teach you music. They would just teach you a song. You'd go in and, hey, can you sing? Can you teach me? And everybody who went to lessons, it was like, hey, I want to learn the intro to Ozzy's, Dark Bark at the Moon. So then he would just go through it with you, and he wouldn't teach you anything. He would just teach you how to play the song. And so I was like, I was cool with that. My parents were like, we didn't pay for this. So then I got another guitar teacher when I was about 16. that actually started teaching me fundamentals. And then that's when, your playing starts coming across, because you're no longer just playing songs. Not that I'm a great guitarist, because I've had spurts where I didn't play for a while, but it's been, but having the fundamentals behind the music, like
Right.
jazz, knowing why to play the jazz chord that you are, and in what chord pattern, what progression, what, what place on the guitar are you going to start that chord. So
Right.
you could, you have like what position you're going to start playing, and how it will flow through, and sometimes actually adding some different things to your chord. I'm sure that's exactly what you go through. And jazz
That's
is one of
definitely
those ones.
that's like the easier route to kind of learn the song, but like to actually learn the fundamentals is more like,
I
you know what I'm
agree.
saying? Like, yeah, anybody can just get paid hourly and be like, oh, that's how you play it. And
Yeah.
then actually just to learn chord
Yeah.
progression, all that stuff, is just
Yeah.
It's
Very much
tricky.
so.
I mean, because on one side, there's some people that's just they don't really care how it works. They just want to get to the result, and so some teachers will just teach you that, And so
right.
you kind of never know. And in a way, I think that it just has to do with the teacher being able to read the student, like what is it that they're interested in, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's some there's some nuts that are hard to crack, so it's hard to tell. And sometimes you can be explaining all of those things to people. Here's how it works. This is how the structure is. This is why it sounds the way that it does. And here's some of the technical aspects of it. And then the eyes just glaze over, and you're like, all right, this is not
Right.
going right. So
Well,
it's tricky. Yeah.
yep, no, totally get it. And that's what I was thinking, because I think about guitar theory, and you definitely can get really glazed over once you start getting into the theory level of playing, and you're just like, uh chord patterns, what? It's and it's still fun. I enjoy, and I'm actually learning more theory as I got as I'm older now. So, because I enjoy the actually knowing how and why music is written the way it was. So yeah, I still like to play the songs and the covers, but I also like to play the here's why, and I'm going to make my own stuff up a little bit. So
Right.
really cool. I like that.
Yeah, like myself, I've in school. I don't play like guitar. I don't play like drums. I mean, I've taken lessons in like drums. In high school, I played like alto saxophone. I did some keyboard. Keyboard is kind of where I learned to kind of listen to music and kind of putting it, just playing it and kind of sounding it out. That was my thing. I always did that. Then actually, when going to high school, I played keyboard class or piano class. Did like a little performance. Any kind of, but you kind of learn how to learn with both hands, kind of playing with both hands. Because I only just did it with just the one, kind of just finding out little notes or whatever, and that'll be it. But then yeah, I did. So I did the alto saxophone, and then keyboard and piano stuff in high school. But then
That's
I
cool.
took drum lessons before, and that's definitely I didn't have the time to kind of do the lessons a lot because I had to drive, and at the time I was working 2 jobs, and I would love to get into drums or learning guitar as well. That would be something I definitely want to get into, is finding the time to get into it.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting thing in the sense of, um, being creative, being able to just, take something and do something with it. A lot of times the idea that you need to know theory, the idea that need to know anything technical at all can kind of get in the way. And especially if there's somebody who's intuitive about being creative, if a teacher can recognize that, then you can actually kind of just you know jump right into it. And then later it's like, okay, if we would like to know how to tighten this up a little bit, how to make it a little bit more clear and concise, then you can get, there's a bunch of different ways you can kind of get into it. But that's what I kind
Right.
of dig about music in general. It's like, seriously, man, if you got something you can just beat on, and you can do it at least in a little bit of a with a little bit of a groove, you can do whatever you want to do. You can do things, and you don't have to make them be conform to anything really. I mean, if you can get into it, and if you can feel the beat, and you can make a sound, and you can make 2 sounds, and you can make 3 sounds, and you can just organize those 3 sounds into something, no problem. Do something. It's totally cool. As opposed to like, no, it's got to be like this. This is how it is. You got to learn this. You got to learn that. And you got to put all these barriers in front of the, or I should say, yeah, basically, in front of the creative process. that can be kind of a drag for anybody who doesn't have that particular type of analytical mind.
You're absolutely right. And we've actually, the reason why I bring this up, because I knew that if you knew jazz, that you knew that you had to have, that there was the tech people who know jazz have a more technical sound background usually. Just, they usually they to do the chord progressions and know how to play them correctly. It's crazy. There's a lot of different chord patterns, and being able to play them successfully is difficult. But we've had guests on that said, I don't have any music theory. And you're like, that's cool too. And that's your point, is as long as you're being creative. And that's what I would love to hear about it. For you, what goes on when you're creating? You have very melodic, harmonic songs. And I pick out different pieces of your music and say, that was well done, and here's why. We were talking just like some of your backing vocals, where I'm sure that was, I was like, do you think that's him, or do you think that's another singer? How is he just another backing track, like where he's actually singing and then he sings over the top of that? I said, is he layering it? What do you think he's doing? I mean, so me and Caden had to debate on whether on some of your songs, like some of the vocals, some of the like chorus was like, here it is, and you're like, there's somebody in the back of this. Is it him? So we were me and Caden had a debate. We said Caden said, I think he has another person singing, and I said, I don't know, that might be just a layered back, like he's singing and then he sings over the top of that. So
yeah, well, there's only one song on this record, on Testing Your Patience, that has another backing vocalist, and that's the track 3, Inside Out, Upside Down.
Yep.
Yeah.
My friend Jeff Held, who's actually one of my partners in the band The Fingers, who we had made a record a few years ago, he came in and sang backups on that, and he's got this amazing range. It's kind of like the Michael Anthony range, like way up there. It's so great. So yeah, I brought him into the studio, and he just belted the crap out of his lyrics. It was so good. But the rest of them, yeah, it would have just been me if there was backup vocals. I made a point to only do only one backup vocal that would come in. I think there was like one tiny exception. You'd barely ever notice that there was a third harmony. But basically the whole concept in this whole record was to be as sparse and minimalistic as I could and get by with just the sounds of a few things. Because in my experience, like if you have many instruments or many sounds, many voices, each one of those takes up some space in the frequency spectrum, and there's only so much space available there. And so when you only have a few things happening, they sound so much bigger. And it's just, actually, I got to say, kind of credit goes to, at least from my experience, listening to, back in the day, listening to I think it was the first White Stripes record, when it was just like, there's only 2 people, and it's just the biggest, most glorious sound of just drums and this electric guitar and the dude singing, and it was just so huge. And so in my mind, it was kind of like, okay, there's a lesson. A few things will make a really, really big sound. So that's kind of where I was trying to go for. And if you get too carried away with things, it's like you get into that wall of sound thing, which I guess, if you're Phil Spector, George Harrison, and you're trying to have like all these different things happening, and you can mix that all together, and that's great. But it's not really, it was not a very realistic thing for me anyway. So I really enjoy just finding those small tones, or I should say, big tones in a small number of instruments. And that's actually why I've been so much tone chasing with the sound of acoustic guitar too. Just finding one great acoustic guitar sound is just huge, and that's kind of what I've been after for the last number of years.
I call it chasing tone. Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So
no doubt.
Do you actually like interpret different like musical artist styles like into your music? Like if so, like which styles you kind of get from different, pulled from different like people, or I guess musical inspirations, but in your music as well.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I wasn't able to hear.
Yeah, I was gonna say like being that you have like different styles of music within like your your songs and stuff like that. you pull like any kind of styles from different like artists like that inspire you to write differently, I guess, in each kind of track, and kind of inspire you to write?
Yeah, definitely. I guess there's a few different kind of categories I guess I could kind of get into, but I definitely feel that as far as I'm very much inspired by when I hear a single singer songwriter playing just one guitar, one voice. That sound, it can just be incredibly huge, and it brings the focus to the lyric, which if you then focused on the lyric, and if the lyric is good, it's going to take you into this whole other world, which can be amazing. So for instance, probably one of the biggest influences I would say was listening to somebody like um, like Connor Oberst or Bob Dylan or Leonard Cohen, where it's just like you're very focused on what they're saying. That voice is really up front, and then the poetry is going to take you into their world, wherever it is they're trying to take you. Um, and then as far as guitar goes, it's been an interesting thing. I mean, like I was saying earlier before the show had started, I've been very into bluegrass lately, although that doesn't necessarily show up a ton on this record. But because of the sound of the acoustic guitar being kind of the fundamental staple of all of this, um, that sort of folk and country music being really, it's sort of like the obvious way to go when it comes to sort of steel string acoustic guitar, and something, and particularly when you're trying to have the groove really be number one, which is always the case for me. Like whatever instruments you're deciding to use, if the groove is not there, it's not really happening. And so that's been a very fun sort of aspect of things, using the guitar, which is kind of a percussive instrument in the first place, and then everything else is kind of sort of built around that, I would say. So that kind of in a nutshell is the way I've been thinking. As far as singing, my I would say, as far as people who I can really consider like influences, and particularly because their range is kind of right where mine is, Harry Connick Jr., Jeff Tweedy, um, and actually you my friend who you should check out, Joy Dragland. Have you ever heard of Joy Dragland? Dragland, Dragland. She's a fantastic singer-songwriter, and she's actually, I know her from here, although she had since moved to New York, and now she lives in New York, Norway. Very much worthwhile checking out. But when I had heard her voice and the way that and you'll hear this when you listen to some of the things that she does, where she's just got these pure tones, and like you just sing one note, doesn't have to even have an inflection, but if that tone is there, it's all you need. It's just so, and of course her intonation is so excellent, and so it's sort of like that kind of thing where it's like I'm I've never really aspired to sing in any sort of virtuosic way, because I didn't consider that I have anything like that to offer. But so then when I hear people who can just do so much with so much with just simple elements, I think it's fantastic, and that's really where the inspiration comes from, I'd say.
I think the tone of your voice in your songs, like I said, whether it's a kind of fast paced like rock song, or just a deep song, I think each song you kind of get a softness to like a nice purity, I guess, of the song, and you can actually hear each word. I'm saying, where some might seem like cluttered or just muffled or whatever, but you get like every word out of your song. And like I said, I listened to the Fingers album, and I listened to the other album, and the new one they have, the Testing Your Patience album, like all day today, kind of back to back. And each song, like I said, I went through each song just without having to skip a track or anything like that. Like, but very, very well done.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it, and I guess it's a good point in terms of if you can get clarity, then everything else falls into place. And a lot of times it makes sense that sometimes people won't achieve clarity because they're trying to kind of cover things up or kind of put band-aids on things, or like something's just not quite developed enough, so let's add another track or whatever, you know what I mean? And I'm just thinking, man, my favorite is when it's just a couple things, but each of those things, each of those elements, each of those sounds, those instruments, whatever, are really big because they already just sound good the way they are. You know, sometimes I gotta say that the credit goes to simply the luthier who made the guitar. Such a great instrument, or the fact that just somebody has honed to their voice or whatever it is, you know. And but when you get that clarity, then nobody has to be distracted by some element that can just be in the song. And I feel like if you can hear the song, there's no distraction, you're in it. Then you're in the zone, and then the experience is exactly the way it's supposed to be.
I love that. That's beautiful. Yeah, very beautiful. So it is 7:42 and Andy time. So it's Phoenix time. So we want to hear some songs. So
Yeah, sure.
I want to hear some. So and this is off of your. You can play whatever you want. He does have his newest album out is Testing Your Patience, and again, there is definitely different tracks, different styles. I felt overall the album was just phenomenally done. I enjoyed every piece. I liked every track. I didn't have a track where I said, I dislike that one. I don't want to hear that one again. I enjoyed every single track. And to me, it has some Sunday hanging out days and it had some after work music. And so I just felt like this was a really solid album. So play whatever you want, and maybe you can describe the song and what made you inspired you to write this.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, let's see. What should we do? You know, it's an interesting thing in terms of like where the inspiration comes from. For I feel like the best songs are a little enigmatic, because I don't really ever set out to write anything in particular. It's more like I got an inkling of a feeling, and I just chase that feeling until it's developed. You know, so and sometimes the lyrics can be that way too. I really can't say like, well, this is how, you know, this is what this lyric is definitely about, because you can even tell that sometimes it's a little bit obscure. I think that, and people have said this, and I kind of feel good about it, that there's room for the audience to interpret it the way that it works for them, because I don't really need to explain myself in a song, or like I need you to know that I had this experience. In my mind, I just don't really care. I don't think anybody cares. Anybody really cares. It's more like, here's just this energy, and if it feels resonant to you, then mission accomplished. You know. So yeah, I'll play this tune. This is the second song on my record called "Fake Candles Chandelier." Um, and But I want to tell you, actually, if you go to lucasound.com, there's a place where all the lyrics are there, and you can kind of read them down. And and you can kind of interpret it. You know, it's sometimes there's some metaphors in there, and you can kind of go whichever way you want with them. And to me, that's not, you know, no right answers exactly. You know, this one is kind of a little bit. I guess you could say kind of like when you have discovered that there's some sort of disillusion, but the freedom that comes from discovering that, because then you're like, it's not what you thought it was. So anyway, yeah, I'll go ahead and play that for you. We'll see what happens. You can hear that okay?
You bet. Sounds great.
Did you die to a bitter heart first into a bitter? Was it on fire in your hand when you surrendered to your man? Or did you think he'd break it down? These third cool the sand. Did you think he'd break it down? Break it down. Was that you put cactus down? Or was that you put cactus down? I saw needles in the wind while someone practiced on their swing. I'm still to catch your eye from one nose dry. Don't still to catch your eye, catch your eye. Was there a fish jumping in your boat? Was there a fish jumping in your boat? Were you thrown almost back out to sea? Was someone jumping back immediately? A ship like that might sink, but there ain't below 80. A ship like that might sink, might sink. Was there a light in your chandelier? Bright light in your chandelier. Was there a light in your chandelier? Igniting halos on your love, like make-believe in wars and love. Was the image negative underneath those eyelids? Was the image negative, negative, negative? Was the image negative underneath those eyelids? Was the image negative, negative?
Amazing.
Amazing. Thank you very much. That's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. I thought I was
Yeah.
going somewhere else with that, and then I was like, nope, not that place. I guess I'm going somewhere else. That's the best thing about improvisation, though, man. You just gotta be in it, and then wherever it goes, you know.
Yeah, that's cool. That's what's good about live music is being able to just go with what, is that your favorite part of the gigging is just being able to sometimes just flow where the music goes with it?
Absolutely. No, there's nothing better because that's the moment, you know. That's the moment. That's where everything really is. Anytime, you know, everything that you do that's planned, that's automatically the past. That's not the moment. That's just the past. And so it's your job to bring that into the moment, you know. And improvisation gives you that opportunity to at least get something that's about as pure as you can get in the moment. So yeah, whether it's jazz or bluegrass or any other type of music that has that element in it. I mean, that's I would say that's the spiritual aspect of it all.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah, thank you.
Very cool. So, do you want to play another song or?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Yeah,
Cool.
sure.
Love it. Love it.
Do you have any requests from the record? If there's anything, the only song that I can say that I may not be able to do real well without that kind of arrangement is the Long Walk Home. But any of the other tunes, I'm happy to play for you. If there's anything that on there that you like to hear, I'd be happy to do it.
Yeah, I think the Inside Out Upside Down is definitely one of the favorites.
There we go. There we go.
Definitely,
Yep.
The acoustic
one of them.
acoustic version. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Those nails were already pounded in the wall, that's how I found it. Like the drunk of 1,000 beers. That's how you came to me crying tears. That your life was gone, wondering what took so long. It's funny how close you get when all your love is dead, and mine is in your head. All your good ideas begin and end in bed. Old flames fly out of your room, hysterical just like you. And talking about this and that, but it just ain't true. Sleepwalk staring in the lounge room mirror. Big delusions getting clearer. Seeing those in the bathroom stall, watching the bubbles moving on the wall. Focused on the surface of a crystal ball. What you see is true after all. Everything is inside out and upside down. Fast fire crawling up the hallway wall. Quick smoke crawling down the hall. Laugh track cracking up to the ceiling. You know when you get that feeling. You're riding the movie and playing the role. Like trying to drive us back through a tiny hole. Those nails were already pounded. You know all that's how I found it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love that.
Awesome. Good job. Good job.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah. I'm getting the kudos are coming in. Awesome. I love it, man. This is cool.
Oh, good.
Um,
Glad they're hearing it.
yeah, that's cool. I enjoy that. And that's why we do this show, is to be able to, show new artists and be able to, just be able to hang out with cool music. This is really great. So you have an option. Here is your option, sir. We can give you the last lightning round questions and end the show, or do you want to play another song?
Oh, let's just keep it. Well, I can go either
Keep it
which
going.
way. I'm happy to answer
Let's hear
questions.
another song.
Let's just
Let's
play
hear
some
another
tunes,
song.
huh? Man,
That's
I
right.
love playing music.
That's right.
Stuff.
We always say this too. Like when we get any chance to get somebody to play music, it's amazing. Like seriously, I know we're not as like crazy big right now, but it's always literally an honor for anybody that they don't have to play, but it's amazing when we get. It's like we're lucky to have somebody play. So really, thank you for that.
No, I appreciate that. And I tell you what, if you do have questions and you want me to answer them somewhere else, like on a chat or online or whatever, I'm happy to do so. So,
right on.
But yeah, I'll tell you what, I played this tune called Moon Rock. I should tell you, if you go on the YouTube, I've got the Louka. Well, you can do it on Instagram, you can do it on YouTube or whatever. I'll put the video in both places. I took a video of Georges Méliès, who's a silent film maker and this film was made in 1912. And amazingly, it turned out that the tempo of a lot of the things that were happening in this movie were very, very super close to this song called Moon Rock from my record. And so I kind of chopped it up and used it for the music video. And if you're interested, you can go there. You can go to either to the Instagram or to the YouTube and check it out. It's a good time. You're seeing this sort of like, and it's, oh, by the way, the movie was called A Trip to the Moon. I want to say La Voyage dans la Luna in French. And really, it was a great time making the video, and you're just kind of like, what is going on here? But it's worthwhile. It's worthwhile.
Trip to the Moon, and that's called Moon Rock. It's kind of coincides. I like that.
It just worked out, and then I'm looking at it, like, what? How is this even possible? Like you see some people like marching, and it's like almost the same tempo as a tune. Totally not intentional at all, So
that's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, when you get those little serendipities, you're like, yep, that is a sign that is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing right now. So,
that's like the Pink Floyd going with the Wizard of Oz kind of thing.
Oh, yes. That is amazing. There's a lot of people. It's funny because I got some friends who are like, that's bullshit. And I'm like, no, dude, check it out. It's so good. Yeah, I love it.
And actually, even speaking about Wizard of Oz, in my tea, I do kind of pick up like there's a little playing where I think you're playing like the If I Only Had a Heart kind of thing, but like that tempo kind of thing.
Wow, you noticed.
I picked up on that, yeah.
That is, I'm so glad you noticed. Yeah, totally, man. That's exactly what I did. Yep, it was If I Only Had a Brain, and I just sort of was like, well, what if you did it in minor, and what if you do it with this weird scale?
Yeah, so I picked up on it. I'm like, it sounds just like no head. Okay. So I wrote that in my notes. I said I put MIT, I put Wizard of Oz on it.
Yeah, I'm really glad that it came through. Yep. Little, like I like to plant little secrets here and there, Actually, I tell you one more, just a fun one. Take a listen to the end of You Got It All. I had a guitar part that I actually moved it down an octave, and it was from a lyric of George Harrison's "While My Guitar Gently Weeps." And if you can listen to it, it's like boom doo 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 doo. It's like I forget the lyric, and it's I don't know how somebody. I can't remember it at the moment, but if you listen to it, it was just a little nod to George Harrison. You'll hear it in the guitar solo at the very end.
What song was that?
Once in a while, sometimes I'll just hear something and be like, you know what, I'm putting that in there.
What song was that?
This You Got It All, the very last tune, and it's the guitar solo. It's at the very end of the guitar solo. I just kind of snuck that in there, and it's if you listen to While My Guitar Gently Weeps and then hear this lyric. I don't know how somebody fool. I forget what the lyric is, but it's somebody did it. They bought and sold you, or something like that. It's great. I actually probably should have my shit together and know that lyric better, but you can hear it. You'll know it. It was more about the lyric or more about the melody than anything else. So.
That's awesome.
Anyway, yeah, this tune is called Moon Rock. rock on the dark side. I'm a scuba diver swimming for the light. You're like a tombstone, no day to burn, and no sign of life. I'm holding hands with your cousin in the sand. You're out to sea, trying to understand. You're like a candle on the crest of a wave, waiting for a flame. It's in your gaze, I feel the feeling. It's a long spiral staircase, but it ends up at the ceiling. You walk the maze in a little room. I don't believe you when you sing, but I know you mean to speak the truth. It's true. You're like a lost lover gone mad. I'm a broken old palm sitting on your lap, but you don't read me. You're lying in the dark, drifting off to sleep. I could see you smiling, shining overall. Instead of boys like rain, just about to fall. It takes an ocean to dissolve an island, but you can do it. Just keep on crying. Find a reason. It's a short and crazy dream where you say just what you mean. You walk the maze in your little room. I don't believe you when you sing, but I know you mean to speak the truth. It's true. Sad but true, it's nothing new.
Beautiful. That's awesome.
Absolutely amazing. Louka, I will, this was what a crazy great experience this was. Your music is phenomenal. Thank you for playing for us. And just really honored to have you come on. So I I will leave it at James. Do you have any last thoughts?
No,
I don't want to.
I'm blown
Yep.
away. Like I said, I'm
Yep.
always with how the night's gone. It's gone beautifully, and to actually end it off with awesome, beautiful music as well is definitely is definitely a nice ending.
Yeah,
I
absolutely. So.
appreciate it so much. It's great to play. It's so it's an honor and a privilege to just be listened to, just that people would want to hear it and to get to do it. So thank you guys so much for the opportunity to come on and talk, and I would love to do it any other time. So let me know.
It definitely changes like in any attitude, any kind of mood. You know what I'm saying? If you're in a bad mood, whatever. I mean, listening to that is just, it kind of just brings, like you said, brings you back, like how we said in the beginning, it brings you back to like that little center of Zen kind of thing. It's just brings that peace and calms you down.
Hey, mission accomplished. That's
Exactly.
more than that. So beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
So
lots
yeah,
of
check them out on all platforms. Really, YouTube. You can check him out on Spotify, all that stuff. He's on there. So
Yeah, and
Louka,
if you go to
LukaSound.com.
Lucas,
Check him out.
yeah, appreciate that. And if you go to lucasound.com, you can get the links to anywhere you need to go. I think there's a link tree in there somewhere, and there's a bunch of different places you can kind of go hang out at and check stuff out. But yeah, no, thanks so much. And now that I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that this whole sort of pandemic thing is kind of easing up to some degree. Yeah, I'm hoping to get out there and be playing much more. And so thanks so much for the opportunity to get this out to some audience, for people to hear it. So appreciate that.
And yeah, being that you're a part of the Tasty Licks family and Tasty Licks crew, we'll definitely share a lot of your stuff. Anything you come out with new, any kind of tour kind of thing, we'll definitely share your stuff out there to everybody. So
yeah, fantastic. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yep. Great music. Thank you again, Louka. Beautiful playing. Really, really, what a great Tuesday. So in a time that's really tough for everybody, this was just beautifully done. And thank you for playing. I totally appreciate it.
Excellent. Thank you.
And we will catch you all next week. Thank you, everybody who joined. We are always humbled by people coming on and listening. And we got nowhere to go but up. And so excited. So we will see you all next week with another guest. And thanks again. And stay tasty.
Stay tasty.